Oh, hello there. I've got a few minutes to kill before my train comes. I had made it up in my mind when I got to work this morning that I was going to offer to work overtime. So when I walked in and at 7 o'clock they were like, hey, we're looking for volunteers. I was the first to step up and say, hey, I can do it. I got lens flares like a Star Trek. Look at that. J.J. Abrams, eat your heart out. So I went in and volunteered, and I was told in no uncertain terms, we don't need you. Thanks for the offer. We've got it under control. I was like, okay, cool. So I geared myself down for the day. You know, it was like, how when you're told you don't have to do a thing, so you kind of like, all right, I don't have to do that thing. Well, at 1:30, they rolled up on me and was like, hey, you want to stay? And I was like, fuck, yeah, yeah, I guess, sure. Because in my mind, I'm not geared up for it anymore. Like I had prepared myself for a 12-hour shift at 7 o'clock this morning. It's like, okay, see what happens at my job is that you get rotations. I did a whole thing. I showed the chart on another video once. When I first show up at 6 o'clock, from 6 to 8, I'm in one location. And then from 8 to 10, I'm in another location. Then from 10 to 12, and then 12 to 2. Makes sense, right? So at 7 o'clock this morning, I had made it up in my mind that I was going to get at least 2 more rotations. So that's 4 hours of overtime. But when they said no, I died myself down, and I was ready to just come home and chill. So at like 1:15, 1:20, I'm doing like everybody else is doing. I'm counting the minutes. I'm ready to go home. But then they hit me, it was like, boom, you want to work? And I was like, yeah. Like, I won't hold you up. Financially, we're in a weird place right now. Like, I work 40 hours a week. Sometimes I do a little bit of overtime. So I'm in this weird place. But this water bill came from out of nowhere. Like, and it's not even that it came from out of nowhere. Like, it was a month by month thing. Our property manager is weird in the sense that when the water bill comes, they pay the water bill and then they want us to reimburse them. I would much rather deal with the water department directly, but whatever. So they hit me with a thing a couple of weeks ago. It's like, you need to pay $477. I didn't have it. I know I didn't have it, but I went in there with the little bit I had and I gave them 200. I figured that would hold me off a month or two. Well, a week later, I got a text, and they were like, to avoid service interruption, pay the rest. But in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, if you've already paid it, then that means you can't interrupt the service. Like, the water company isn't going to be like, oh, you paid it, but they didn't pay you, turn them off. The water company don't give a shit. They got their money. So I can't fathom that they would turn it off. Also, I can't imagine that there's anybody in the complex who would have the wherewithal to go up under the building or wherever the pipes are and physically disconnect us without disconnecting everybody else. Which is why I suspect they say we'll just pay for them all because we can't turn off one without the other. You know, but whatever. So I have to pay that, and the rent's coming up. The rent's actually due. Like, I'm late, and my check this week was so short, not gonna make it. My sister was wonderful enough to send me money. Vanessa, oh, you wonderful, wonderful woman. Was not expecting that. Just out of left field, she sent me money. That's what's up. But still, as she put it, drop in the bucket compared to what I actually need. So when overtime becomes available and it's really just me sitting there, like, I'm fine with it. I'll give you an example and then I'll wrap this up. My last rotation, so from 12 to 2, the name of the spot is SAC 1 Alpha. I don't know how they came up with these names. Don't judge me. They're not mine. I'm just going with what they have. And it's a sitting position where I just sit and I'll just listen out for an alarm, really. What's happening is people come in, they swipe their badge, they go bing, and then they go on in. And if they do it and there's an alarm, I stop them and tell them to do it again. And most times it works. So I'm just sitting there. So when I got the call that said I had to stay, they were like, yeah, your next rotation is SAC 1 Alpha. So I literally just sat there. I was doing the exact same thing I would have been doing had I not been working overtime. I'm just sitting here. Now, if you want to take it a step further and say, well, if you wanted to go home at 2, what would you have done at home? Well, I probably would have took a shower and I probably would have just sat there, but I wouldn't have gotten the overtime. So I'm okay with working the overtime to get the overtime. Moreover, if I volunteer, like typically on Thursdays and Fridays is when people call off the most. So on Thursdays and Fridays, they're always looking for people to stay. So for me, if I come in on a Monday and volunteer, my name comes off the rotation. They can't ask me to stay again. I'm trying to wait for my train, but I guess I could do this and just look to see if it's coming down there, but I don't see it. Trains are running late. I'll swing around this way so you can see that sign. You're not going to be able to see it, but whatever. Wow, what was I saying? Wow. Completely lost my train of thought. Wow, this was a shitty video. Overtime. Oh, rotations. If I volunteer for one, my name comes off the rotation list because what happens is if somebody calls off, they say, hey, who wants to volunteer to stay? And let's say out of the 20 guards that are here, nobody says they want to stay. Well, they now have to go in order by people whom have already done it versus people who haven't. So if on Friday somebody calls off, they can't put my name back on the list because I was here Monday. But that's not why I'm here. Because if I can get another overtime day this week, I'll take it. I really will. Not on a weekend, mind you. It won't be a weekend. But if I could get another day of overtime, I probably will. You know? So that's where I am right now. Okay, there it is. Oh, damn, and then it went away again. They say they're running 15 minutes behind, but I don't know how old that is. Like, I've seen trains coming back and forth because, here, I'll swing around so you can see my building back there. Can you see it? Can you see it? That building back there. You see that building back there? Yeah, that's where I work. So from where I was standing, I could see the trains coming back and forth. So I know that they're running and I know they're fine. Now, I'm just ready to go home. Oh. So I'm going to go home, shower. My wife says that she's got a meal waiting for me. That's what's up. It's probably going to be followed with some foot rubs. That's what's up. Man, my wife takes such good care of me. Like, oh, I can't even tell you. One more thing I want to touch on before I go. There's an older dude here. And I'm not going to call Herman out by name. But he's an older dude. And every day he complains about the job. He's like, oh, man, I can't believe they got me on my feet. Oh, man, I'm tired. Man, if they don't give us a raise soon, I'm going to have to quit. But it's like, dog, you knew how much they were offering to pay you when you took the job. It's not like you took the job and then they lowered your pay. Why are you acting like that now? And then he was like, yeah, but if you look, because I'm a morning shift guy. So the afternoon is the swing shift. And he was like, if you look around, ain't a whole lot of brothers on the swing shift. They bring in all them foreigners because they can pay them peanuts and they know they won't complain. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm reminded of that Bible story, and I know, ironic, me telling you a Bible story, but the story goes along the lines of a guy approaches another guy, and he's like, I'm going to pay you X amount of money to tend my field. So the guy's like, yeah, that's a reasonable thing. I can do that. So he's tending the fields. So then he hires a couple of other people, and they come in, and they're getting the exact same amount, and they're tending the fields, which is fine. But like 2 hours before he was supposed to be done, he hires more people. And they're like, okay, now they're tending the fields. And the first guys are like, why are they getting paid the exact same amount that I'm getting paid if I did more work? And the moral of the story is, that's really none of your business. I agreed to X amount of work for X amount of money. So if you get more or less based on the amount of time that you work, like, I don't care what person number 2 gets. Like, now, sure, it's unfair if, like, he's getting $50 an hour more than I am. But even then, that's still not unfair because I agreed to the amount that I agreed to, and now I'm here. I was paid that amount of money. What everybody else is doing, not my concern. Not my concern at all. So when he start talking about, oh, it's Black Lives Matter, but then they try to make it all lives matter to include everybody else. If you think that it's all lives and not just black lives, then don't date my daughter. It's like, well, you know what, dude? You ain't got to worry about me dating your daughter. Right? I don't care. He was like, affirmative action was for us. They gave that to us because of what they did to us, and now they want to extend that to everybody. It's like, no, that's called equal opportunity employment, dog. That's not. If anything, affirmative action is doing you a favor. It's going beyond the norm to help you out. I don't understand why people don't get that. Like, I'm not a big black power guy. I don't care. I do me. I have never felt held back or discriminated against because of the color of my skin. Just not a thing. Like, the only time racism was prevalent to me was in the early 80s because my father was white and my mother was black. So that was kind of a touchy subject because, like, I didn't know what race was, but other people did, so they were kind of telling me about it. Why your daddy white, your mama black? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. These are my parents. What do you mean? It didn't occur to me. Like, it's stupid to say I don't see color. I see it. I just don't care. I just don't care. So no, I'm not all about the fight the power, Black Lives Matter, rah rah, fight the good fight the black man. It's like, nah, dog. I identify as a lot of things: husband, father, uncle, brother, federal tax board employee, neighbor, friend. Like, I identify as a lot of things, and one of them is African American male. But that's not the focus. I don't drive that one home. Like, I'm also an outspoken atheist, kind of anti-theist. But you know what? That's I don't. Oh man, if you don't talk about atheist lives matter, don't date my daughter. Like, what the fuck? I don't pull that one out of the group. I am the sum of my experiences. My skin does not define me. My marital status does not define me. My status with my son does not define. Well, actually, all these things do define me. I'm defined by my family, absolutely. But I'm not defined by the color of my skin. I am defined by the content of my choices and the content of my character. It is how I adapt to adversity that makes me who I am. So no, I couldn't give a shit less about Black Lives Matter, Purple Lives Matter. Like, oh, so I guess Barney don't matter if no purple lives. And then I guess Kermit will be like, well, what about green lives? Okay, I'm rambling at this point. I'm sorry. I'm literally just waiting for this train. So I'm gonna go. I'm sorry. Can't wait to see what my wife got planned for me tonight, though.